Stop exactly where you are and take a breath. I need you to do something that might seem strange at first, but will change how you see your reflection forever. Turn your left palm upward to the light. Or perhaps reach your hand back to the base of your neck where the spine meets the skull. Maybe trace that birthmark on your ribs or your thigh that you have tried to hide or ignore for your entire life. You have been told that these are just biological accidents. You have been told that a birthmark is just a cluster of pigment, or that the curvature of your hand is just genetics. But if you have ever felt a profound sense of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix, or a feeling that you are waiting for a home you have never visited, then you need to listen very closely. Edgar Cayce, the most documented psychic of the 20th century, called the sleeping prophet, did not see these marks as random. He saw them as receipts. He called this the somatic archive. Your body is not just a vessel for this lifetime. It is a library of every battle you have fought and every vow you have taken in the thousands of years prior to this moment. These are not blemishes. They are Akashic scars. If you have a birthmark that is distinct and darker than the rest of your skin, specifically located on your torso or your head, Cayce identified this in over 50 separate readings as a traumatic memory from a past life. This is not to scare you, but to validate you. It means you are a survivor of a violent end in a previous era, and you chose to carry that mark into this life as a reminder of your resilience. It is a badge of honor from the soul. Now look at the base of your neck or the tops of your shoulders. If you carry chronic tension there, or if you have a small mole or mark right at the 7th cervical vertebra, this is often called the Atlas burden. In the readings performed by Cayce during the 1930s and 40s, he frequently identified this specific somatic pressure in individuals who were once high priests in Atlantis or Egypt. You were the ones holding the energetic structure of your society together. You feel the weight of the world on your shoulders today because you literally held the weight of your world in the past. It explains why you feel an overwhelming responsibility for the emotions of strangers. It explains why you walk into a room and instantly know who is hurting and who is lying. You are not overly sensitive. You are simply remembering your training. Now look at your hands. If you have a star shape or a deep cross in the center of your palm, or if your lifeline is broken and then restarts with a deeper groove, this is the mark of the healer in hiding. Cayce spoke of the Essenes and the ancient schools of mystery, where the hands were used as conduits for the divine creative force. If you have these lines, it means your soul has mastered the art of reconstruction. You are the one people call at 3 a.m. You are the one who attracts broken partners because your spirit remembers how to fix them. But here's the danger and the revelation. Because you do not know the origin of these marks, you have been treating them as defects. You try to massage away the pain in your neck, not realizing it is a phantom pain from a collar worn in a life 3,000 years ago. You try to cover the birthmark, not realizing it is the point of entry, where your soul said, "I will try again." Edgar Cayce taught that the physical body is the last place that spiritual truth manifests. Everything starts in the spirit, then moves to the mind, and finally prints itself onto the body. So if it is on your skin, it is a truth so powerful that your soul refused to leave it behind in the Hall of Records. You brought it with you. Think about the implications of this. You are not a random creation. You are a specific design. You are an ancient entity currently wearing a modern costume, and your costume has the specific rips and tears that prove where you have been. If you have a scar that you were born with or a mark that appeared mysteriously during your childhood, specifically between the ages of 7 and 14, this is what Cayce called a timeline overlap. It means the skills you had then are trying to activate now. If the mark is on your legs, you were likely a messenger or a scout, someone who paved the way for others. If the mark is near your throat or mouth, you were likely an orator or a truth-teller who was silenced, and you are here now to speak what was forbidden then. Do not let modern medicine tell you that you are merely a collection of cells. You are a collection of memories. When you look in the mirror today, I want you to look at that mark you have always hated. I want you to touch the pain in your shoulder or the curve in your spine. And I want you to say to yourself, I remember. I acknowledge the warrior I was. I acknowledge the priest I was. I acknowledge the healer I was. You are waking up to the fact that you are part of a lineage of light that has survived the fall of civilizations. You are still standing. The mark proves it. If you feel a vibration in your hands or a chill down your spine as you hear this, it is your cellular memory unlocking. We are going to dive deeper into how to activate the specific powers hidden in these marks in the next few minutes. But first, I need you to claim this identity. The world needs to know how many of us have returned. If you have a mark or a chronic pain that doctors cannot explain, I want you to write a very specific phrase in the comments right now. Do not be afraid to be seen. Write simply, I am a survivor of the old world. Let us see how many ancient souls are gathered here today. Look at your skin. Read the map. Your mission is just beginning. The feeling you have walked into a room where no one speaks your language is not a social anxiety disorder. It is a coordinate error. Your soul is constantly scanning the horizon for a geography that no longer exists on modern maps. We call this cellular homesickness. Edgar Cayce spoke extensively of this phenomenon when he read the life paths of individuals who had walked the earth during the peak of the Atlantean era. He described a civilization not just of machines, but of spiritual technologies where the mind and the material were fused into one seamless operation. When you sit in a crowded restaurant or a busy office, and you feel that sudden crushing wave of exhaustion that makes you want to flee, it is not because you are weak. It is because your sensory system was engineered for a higher vibration. You are a high-fidelity receiver trying to decode static. Think about the way you react to loud, sudden noises, or the way fluorescent lighting seems to drain the energy right out of your adrenal glands. Modern medicine will tell you that you are highly sensitive, or perhaps that you have an attention deficit. But the sleeping prophet would tell you that you are remembering the hum of the great firestone, the Tuoi stone, the massive crystal that powered a continent before the sons of Belial tuned it too high and shattered the foundations of the earth. This is where the mark on your body comes into the story. I want you to run your fingers over that birthmark or that scar or that patch of skin that always feels slightly different than the rest. Maybe it is a mole on your shoulder blade, or a discoloration on the back of your neck, or a small indentation on your knee. For decades you have ignored it or covered it up, or simply accepted it as a random biological accident. There are no accidents in the physical manifestation of the spirit. Cayce taught us that the body is simply the shell that the soul builds around itself, and the traumatic injuries of a past life often echo forward into the present tissue. That mark is an impact site. If your mark is on your back or your shoulder, it corresponds to the burden of carrying the migration records. When the waters began to rise and the earth began to split approximately 12,000 years ago, there were those who were chosen to carry the wisdom of the law of one to the safety of the Egyptian lands. They carried heavy loads, not just of physical weight, but of energetic responsibility. The chronic pain you feel in your upper back, that no chiropractor can seem to fix, is the phantom memory of that weight. You were the bridge between the sinking world and the rising one. If your mark is on your chest or near your heart, it speaks of the heartbreak of watching your home disappear beneath the waves. It is a grief that has lasted for 10 millennia. This is why you feel a profound, inexplicable sadness when you look at the ocean, or why you have a terrified respect for deep water. You remember the cataclysm. You remember the day the sky turned black and the great cities of Posidia collapsed into the boiling sea. But here is the most important shift you must make today. You must stop seeing this sensitivity and this isolation as a curse. You must reframe it immediately as a silent training. For thousands of years, your soul has been conditioning itself to withstand the density of this current age. You have endured lifetimes of silence and lifetimes of hiding your true nature so that you could be here right now for this transition. The fatigue you feel is the resistance training of a spiritual warrior who is holding a frequency of light in a world that is addicted to fear. Edgar Cayce foresaw that the Atlanteans would return in droves during this specific century to unlock the Hall of Records. But the Hall of Records is not just a physical chamber buried beneath the paw of the Sphinx. The Hall of Records is in your blood. It is in the double helix of your DNA. Every time you choose empathy over cruelty in a world that is harsh, you are unlocking a file. Every time you trust your intuition over the logic of the skeptics, you are accessing the ancient technology. That ringing in your ears that comes and goes without a medical cause is often described in the readings as a recalibration of your inner ear to the subtle frequencies that are beginning to return to the earth. You are coming back online. The isolation you felt as a child, where you sat alone in your room dreaming of places you had never seen, was a necessary quarantine. It kept your signal pure. It prevented you from becoming fully integrated into a dysfunctional society, so that when the time came, you would remember who you really are. You are a sleeper agent of the light. Your cover story was that you were just an anxious, introverted person with a weird birthmark. The truth is that you are a veteran of the greatest civilization the Earth has ever known, and you have returned to ensure we do not make the same mistake twice. This is why you have that burning sense of mission, even if you cannot put it into words. You feel like you are running out of time because you know what happens when humanity waits too long to align with the divine law. You saw the end of the world once, and you are here to prevent the end of this one. Now that you understand that your body is a map and your pain is a memory, we need to talk about how to actually use this. There is a specific technique given in the readings to turn this sensitivity from a burden into a guidance system. It involves the pituitary gland and the activation of the Leyden gland. Most people live their entire lives with these centers dormant, but yours are already vibrating. We are going to explain exactly how to channel this energy so you stop absorbing other people's pain and start projecting your own healing influence. But before we unlock that mechanism, I need to know that you are ready to accept the magnitude of this history. If you have felt the resonance of Atlantis, or if you have ever felt that deep, unexplainable homesickness for a place you cannot name, you need to anchor that feeling right now. The energy needs a conduit. You are that conduit. This is the moment of convergence. We are moving past theory now. We are stepping directly into the laboratory of the soul. Edgar Cayce did not just speak of these marks as random biological accidents or genetic debris left over from a forgotten lineage. He viewed the physical body as a temple that reflects the exact specifications of the spirit housed within it. The mark you possess is not a flaw. It is a terminal. It is a tactile button installed on the dashboard of your biological vehicle. And for decades, or perhaps for your entire life, you have been driving this vehicle without ever pressing the ignition switch that this mark represents. You have felt the rumble of the engine. You have felt the heat of the sensitivity, but you have never engaged the gears that allow you to steer through the chaos rather than being crushed by it. This is where we activate the warrior of the invisible. I want you to physically locate that mark on your body right now. If it is on your hand, place your thumb against it. If it is elsewhere, visualize a beam of pure white light connecting your mind directly to that point of pigmentation or curvature. Do not just look at it, feel it. Edgar Cayce described the human body as having centers of spiritual gravity, and you have a center that is currently vibrating at a frequency distinct from the rest of the population. When you touch this mark or focus your intent upon it, you are closing a circuit that has been left open for centuries. This is the principle of the touchstone. In the ancient temples of the Nile and in the healing centers of the Atlantean epoch, initiates were taught to use physical anchors to snap their consciousness out of the illusion of the material world and back into the reality of the spirit. Your mark is that anchor. When the noise of the modern world becomes deafening, when the anxiety of those around you begins to bleed into your own aura, and you feel that familiar weight of exhaustion settling into your chest, you will use this mark. You will press your intention into it, and you will say to your inner self that this is not pain I am feeling, but power that I have yet to distribute. You are going to reframe the narrative of your existence in this very second. The sleeping prophet saw that those with these markings are often the ones who absorb the shocks of the earth. You are the seismic dampers for the collective consciousness. You absorb the fear of others not because you are weak, but because your spiritual constitution is strong enough to transmute it. But you must be conscious of the process. If you are unconscious, you are a sponge soaking up dirty water until you rot. If you are conscious, you are a filter purifying the stream. This is the decree of the warrior. You are standing in the middle of a battlefield that no one else can see. The battles are fought with emotions and frequencies and thoughts, and up until now you have been walking onto this battlefield without your armor and wondering why you are bleeding. The activation of this mark is the donning of that armor. It is the signal to your pituitary gland and your pineal body to work in unison to create a field of protection. Cayce called this the ideal vibration. It is a state where you are in the world, but you are distinctly not of it. You can observe the chaos. You can offer compassion to the chaos, but you are no longer drowning in the chaos. You are the lighthouse standing firm against the crashing waves. The lighthouse does not run into the ocean to save the ships. The lighthouse stands still and shines. That is your mission. That is why you have felt different since you were a child. That is why small talk feels agonizing to you, and why you crave a depth of connection that seems impossible to find in this era of distraction. You remember a time when communication was telepathic. You remember a time when the spirit was visible, and you carry the scar of that separation on your skin. But today we turn that scar into a star. We turn the wound into a weapon of mass healing. This is a heavy responsibility. It is not for the idle curiosity seeker. It is for the old soul who is tired of sleeping and ready to work. We are invoking the law of one. We are calling upon the memory within your very cells to awaken. You are the bridge between the ancient wisdom of the sleeping prophet and the absolute turbulence of the modern world. You are the wire that carries the current. If you are ready to stop being a victim of your sensitivity and start being the master of your frequency, I need you to make a declaration. I need you to solidify this activation in the physical realm. This is not just a comment section. This is a registry of the awakened. This is you signing your name in the book of life and stating clearly that you accept the assignment. If you feel the vibration in your hands, or the heat in your chest, or the clarity in your mind right now, if you are ready to use this mark as your touchstone, I want you to write these words below. I want you to type them out and read them aloud as you do so. Write the words, "I am the bridge." Do not hesitate. Do not overthink it. Let the algorithm know. Let the universe know. Let your own subconscious know that the sleeper has awakened. Write, "I am the bridge," and feel the shift begin.